Everton's match against Premier League leaders Arsenal, it's way more than just another game. For manager David Moyes, it's a massive strategic puzzle, and the clock is seriously ticking. Let's break down exactly what he's up against.
So here's the bottom line. David Moyes might be looking at 4 huge and probably unwanted changes to his starting team. And we're not just talking about swapping a player here or there. This could change the entire shape and feel of the team.
4. It's just a number, right? Well, not for David Moyes. For him, that number represents 4 separate headaches. And each one could trigger a domino effect that completely messes up his game plan against the top team in the league.
Okay, so the first 2 problems, they aren't what-ifs. They're happening, for sure. Moyes knows without a doubt that he's going to be missing 2 key guys who are heading off for a major international tournament.
And the reason is the Africa Cup of Nations, or AFCON. For anyone who might not follow it that closely, it's this huge tournament that happens right in the middle of the club's season. Players leave to go represent their countries. It's a massive honor for them, of course, but man, it's a giant headache for their club managers.
And the 2 players Everton are losing are both heading off to play for Senegal, Iliman Ndiaye and Idrissa Gueye. And listen, these aren't just squad players. These guys are vital cogs in the Everton machine. Their absence is going to be felt, and it's going to be felt immediately. And get this, here's the potential long-term damage. If Senegal goes all the way to the final, this pair could end up missing as many as 7 matches for Everton. 7! That's a huge chunk of the season to be without 2 of your most important players.
So, how in the world do you replace them? Well, for Ndiaye out on the right wing, Moyes is facing a classic dilemma. He could go with the experience of Dwight McNeil, a guy who's reliable and works his socks off. Or he could turn to the club's big summer signing, Tyler Dibling, who's got that creative spark but is still a bit of an unknown quantity.
And then in the middle of the park, to fill that hole left by Gueye, the choice is between Tim Ayerogunam and Carlos Alcaraz. That decision right there is going to define the whole engine room of the team. But these 2 definite absences, that's only half the story.
Just when Moyes thought he had a handle on the problem, bam, a fresh injury crisis pops up. So on top of the 2 guys who are definitely gone, 2 more key players are now major doubts. This is where that dangerous domino effect really starts to kick in.
The first bit of bad news came straight from the gaffer himself after the Chelsea match. Turns out Jack Grealish, another winger, has a potential hamstring issue. So all of a sudden, the options to replace Ndiaye on that side of the pitch are looking dangerously thin. And the second one, this is a massive blow. The guy who's been on fire lately, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, had to be taken off just 15 minutes into the game against his old team, Chelsea. He was seen clutching his leg, and now that central midfield spot looks even more vulnerable.
I mean, this is the question that must be keeping David Moyes up at night. If Grealish and Dewsbury-Hall are also out, then guys like McNeil and Alcaraz suddenly go from being nice options to being absolute necessities. The team's depth has just evaporated.
And the puzzle doesn't stop in the midfield, not by a long shot. All this uncertainty is now forcing Moyes to think about a reshuffle all the way up front. Seriously, no part of this team is untouched by this crisis.
Up front, you've got this whole drama playing out. First, Moyes kind of warns his striker Cherno that his last goal wasn't enough to guarantee his spot. Then, you start hearing whispers that his potential replacement, Beto, has been looking really sharp in training. A change there now seems very, very possible.
And believe it or not, it just keeps going. Even the defense, the one area you'd want to be rock solid heading into a game against Arsenal, could see a change. So the final piece of this crazy puzzle is at right back. The guy who's been starting, Jake O'Brien, is now facing a challenge from Nathan Patterson, who's finally fit again. So Moyes has another decision to make. Do you stick with the guy who's been playing, or do you bring back a more established name?
Okay, so let's take a breath. We've got the guaranteed absences, the new injury doubts, and all these potential tactical switches. Now, let's actually try to put all these moving pieces together and see what we get.
So this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? With all these potential holes from the defense all the way up to the attack, how can Moyes possibly put together a starting 11 that actually works? Just look at the scale of this problem when you lay it all out. On the right wing, you've got 2 players at risk. In central midfield, another 2 could be missing. Then you add potential changes at striker and at right back, and you're looking at a complete tactical overhaul, basically forced upon him. And that really leaves us with the final thought. David Moyes is being forced into this massive experiment against the league leaders. So what do you think? Is this patched-together side going to rise to the occasion in some stroke of tactical genius? Or is this a recipe for disaster against a team like Arsenal? We're all about to find out.